Okay, shall we do this?
It's gonna be a tricky one. What if we accuse the big obnoxious toxic nerds again?
In for a penny, in for a pound, eh?
Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Let's do this.
Which one of us shall review it?
Call it
Tails.
Hit it.
Whoa, stop. If you have not seen this movie yet but plan to, and do not want any surprises ruined, know that this discussion is full of spoilers. And if you just want to get to the ratings, skip to this time.
Now, you might have seen reviews online that have been pretty critical of this movie. I know I did. Like this scathing one from the BBC.
I'm not sure how many fans want to see Indiana Jones as a broken, helpless old man who cowers in the corner while his patronizing goddaughter takes the lead, but that's what we're given, and it's as bleak as it sounds. I don't think I'm going to be watching that.
It sounds pretty dire, right? But the lure of the whip was too great to ignore, so we beamed down to a nearby cinema and took a look for ourselves.
I have to say, I have issues.
As do I.
And I.
And me too.
It's not a perfect movie, by far, but that review and many other similar ones do not do it justice. At the end of the day, we left the theater with a smile on our faces. That's important to state. No matter what problems there may have been with it, on the whole, it was a fun ride.
Let's get down to the nitty-gritty, shall we?
Okay. As with the others in this series, we start with the pre-adventure, this time set in 1944.
What we're faced with is a de-aged Harrison Ford looking for a religious artifact while killing Nazis.
Sounds like a retread of Raiders and Crusade.
Getting inspired by the best of the franchise is not a bad thing, n'est-ce pas?
For myself, I thought the de-aging was okay.
Some moments it looked really weird.
Yes, I can't deny it, but on the whole, I thought it worked.
Maybe that's why they kept the action at night and in the shadows.
Maybe. That sequence is entertaining enough that you can forget about it and enjoy the ride, although I'm aware some won't and will be fixated by it to the detriment of the action. I thought the first 20 minutes were well staged, with good funny moments, and were exciting all round.
Although Indy is bomb-proof now.
Come on, this is the guy who fell out of a plane in an inflatable life raft without suffering any injury.
True. And the main bad guy is injury-proof too.
Yeah, that didn't work for me. What caused him to fall off the train should have killed anyone.
Especially the force with which they were hit.
Exactly. Or at the very least, leave them with traumatic head injuries and lifelong impairments. Yet when we inevitably see him years later, not a hint of an injury could be seen.
And so we jumped in 1969 with a drunk, depressed Indy who falls asleep in his chair, a shell of his former self, about to get divorced from Marion, and who can't even inspire his students. This annoyed me. It seems Disney keeps doing that with their all-male heroes. They did it with Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, and Kenobi, and now Indy's got the same treatment.
I wasn't a fan of this either. So many other options could have been chosen instead. Although there is a good reason for his depression. His son was killed in Vietnam.
I get that. Having a son killed in Vietnam is pretty brutal, and this would obviously be devastating for the parents. But really, could we just have a hero from our childhood who aged gracefully and with dignity? Guess that's too much to ask.
On the plus side, Harrison acted his socks off when he explained what happened, and the grief he felt at the loss of his only child was palpable. Powerful acting from Ford. He really gave it his all in a subtle yet heartfelt performance.
What about Phoebe Waller-Bridge?
Oh, that's opening a can of worms.
Why do you think I asked?
To be honest, I didn't know who she was, so when I heard she would be playing opposite Ford, I decided to look up some of her work and stumbled on Fleabag.
And?
Oh, and I've read the complaints about her online too. She's amassed quite a hateful following. But let me tell you, she was absolutely amazing in that show. Brilliantly written and acted, deep emotional scenes wrapped in witty sarcasm. I was instantly a fan. So based on that, I was looking forward to the film more.
And?
I felt her acting didn't disappoint, but it's the character development that didn't work for me. Her motivation wasn't at all clear. For instance, at the start, she appears to only be in it for the money, even prepared to sell the part of the artifact she stole to the highest bidder. Yet at the same time, she went to the trouble of memorizing her father's notes. As Indy himself said, you don't do that if you're just in it for the money. But that's never properly explored. Also, it's obvious she cares for Indy, and the shift to help him happens during the underwater scene, but why? One moment she's in it for the money, the next she's got more noble intentions. It's nice and all, but it doesn't feel earned.
There's a lot of scenes that people complain about, like when she said that she's resourceful, daring, beautiful, self-sufficient, but it's obvious within context that that's just empty posturing. She uses sarcasm a lot to deflect uncomfortable situations, like when she tells Indy she's instructed the police in Tangiers to shoot him, but she clearly hasn't.
So in conclusion, Helena is underdeveloped with leaps in characterization that came out of nowhere and are unsatisfying, but Phoebe is a great actress.
And Mads Mikkelsen?
What's there to say? He's great in everything he does, and his calm, menacing demeanor worked a treat. Although his character, Jurgen Fowler, does seem to always know where to go.
Yeah, even when he's given the wrong information, he rightly deduces, based on the direction Indy and Helena are going, where they're heading. That's some skill. Although, that's the least of the film's problems.
You mean stuff like Indy going into the hotel in Tangiers at night and coming out a few minutes later in broad daylight?
Nah, that's a minor quibble. Plus, it allows us to get a chase scene during the day, which is much easier to watch. Although, I thought the car chase with the world's fastest tuk-tuks to be absurd.
Indeed, it's true those vehicles can travel close to 120 kph, but that was for the Guinness World Record. Usually, they go between 12 and 24 kph, and that's definitely not the speed those were going at. I thought it was good at the start that Indy tried to punch someone, but being 80, that hit didn't have the impact it expected.
That was good. But that was the only time it happened. After that, Indy's punches were as effective as they used to be.
I guess punching Nazis again leveled them up?
My personal annoyance was the mention of continental drift. Indy was absolutely right that Archimedes would not have been aware of it.
Even though the concept of continental drift was postulated in 1912, it only became widely accepted in the 60s, so I thought using it in a movie based in 1969 was a nice touch.
A nice touch, but a pointless one, Doc. Putting aside the fact Archimedes also would not have known about the sun traveling around the galaxy, dragging the Earth with it, and if you pop back into the past, you'd reappear somewhere in the vastness of space with no Earth in sight. And despite all of that, Archimedes still got his calculations right, and they traveled right back to where he wanted them to. Why even bother mentioning continental drift at all?
I was surprised people complained about the time travel aspect and Indy meeting one of his heroes, the fabled Archimedes. This is an Indiana Jones movie. Did they have a problem with him finding the Ark of the Covenant and witness its destructive power? What about the Sankara stones? Or voodoo? The Holy Grail? Aliens?
Plast Alistair Aluk Palang.
Yes, wouldn't want to confuse them with actual aliens.
Arang Parak Extorstar Parak. Palang.
It should have been no surprise this device was bound to work, with a twist, like all the other artifacts in the franchise did.
My main issue was Indy getting shot in the chest, just under his left arm, 20-odd minutes before the end. He's bleeding everywhere and doesn't receive any medical treatment for it. And from then on, he's either dying because of his wound or is fine fighting Nazis and jumping out of an airplane. I know it's all fantasy and everything, but could we get a little consistency, please?
What about when he's shot in the arms in Raiders?
It's generally accepted that if you're shot in the arm in movies, you're fine. But if you're shot in the chest, it's pretty serious, deadly even. Why couldn't they just shoot him in the arm this time? Or have him be treated? There was time to do so, and the accepted anatomical movie trope would not have been disrupted.
Reva in Kenobi survived for ages, having been impaled through the stomach by a lightsaber.
So what's your point? That Disney is now telling its audience bodily damage doesn't matter? Point taken. Thanks for ruining movies.
I was disappointed that Destiny lacked the usual horror gory ending these movies are famous for. In Raiders, we had melted faces. In Doom, we saw a beating heart being ripped from a chest. In Crusade, someone aged in a blink of an eye. In Skull, someone's head exploded.
Here, not only did we get none of that, but the usual message to not deal with artifacts you don't actually understand as it always bears a hefty price is missing. Heck, by the end, the device is still there, still intact, lying on Indy's table in his apartment.
I kept wondering what happened to the crashed plane. There would still be traces of it back in Indy's own time, messing up history.
An obvious potential solution would have been to crash the plane in the sea.
Exactly. It crashing on land did not even serve any purpose.
Except for Archimedes getting a watch.
That could have been handled with a Nazi who fed up the plane.
I did like that both sides referred to the plane as a dragon.
Yeah, that was fun. What do you think of Marion's return?
I think Just like Helena's sudden change of heart, Indy's wasn't earned either. Up to the end, he felt like his life was over, and now Marion's back and it's all okay?
You're forgetting the advice from another one of Ford's movies.
You know how a woman gets a man excited?
How?
She shows up. That's it. We're guys. We're easy.
Ha, yeah, indeed. The scene was sweet, and it was a nice moment that brings a smile to your face. But good lordy, what a member-berry explosion it was with her, and Sala, and him singing.
By the way, how did Indy deal with him being wanted for murder?
And how did the plane manage to take off from Syracuse without a runway?
How did they manage to rise to the surface so fast without getting the bends? How could Teddy fly a plane if he never flew one before?
Carl Steyer asked.
Okay, so, as you can see, there are a number of issues with this movie. Some minor, some more serious, but on the whole, it was a fun ride, with a lot of locations, some surprises, and a heck of a lot of adventure.
You've got to take into account that this is an indie movie, and many events will be ridiculous. Like in Raiders, when he holds onto a periscope for hours and somehow manages to arrive at the secret Nazi base before the sub itself.
In Temple of Doom, he falls off a plane in an inflatable boat, and the mine car roller coaster ride is ridiculous.
In Crystal Skull, damn, there's so much wrong with that one. But the fridge takes the biscuit.
Ridiculous is Indy's middle name.
So what's Dial of Destiny's rating?
I haven't yet sorted out my nugget scale, so I thought I'd rate it against the other indie movies. Now, it's not surprising that it's not as good as Raiders or Crusade. These two are still at the top. Skull, I'm afraid, stays at the bottom. So it's a toss-up between Doom and Destiny, and considering Doom offended India so much that nation's government banned it in their country, I'll be putting Destiny in third place.
Do you think it'll make a profit?
Unlikely, Gigi. It's claimed Dial of Destiny cost $300 million to make. Add marketing and the cinema's cut, and Disney would need to make close to $1 billion just to break even.
That much?
It's actually worse when you consider how much Raiders cost to make.
How much?
20 million. Adjusted for inflation, that's 84 million in today's dollars. And to be honest, I don't see 3 times as much money on the screen this time round. Do you?
Must have been the constant rewrites and reshoots.
Time to see what you lot think, eh? Right. Feel free to express yourself in the comments, and I'll give you the response you deserve.
The Ark of the Covenant, likely myth, but if real, lost nearly 3,000 years ago. The Sankara stones, made up for the movie. The Holy Grail, medieval myth. The Crystal Skull, hoax. So the Antikythera, real, and it's on display at the National Archaeological Museum in Athens. What?
It's actually properly known as the Antikythera mechanism. Antikythera is just the island it was found near. Every time they called it the Antikythera in the movie, it irked me.
And was it really built by Archimedes? Until March 2021, we had no idea. But a paper published then cited Cicero, who described the device on which were delineated the motions of the sun and moon and of the 5 stars which are called wanderers, which we know today as planets. Archimedes had thought out a way to represent accurately by a single device for turning the globe those various and divergent movements with their different rates of speed. Well, that sounds like the Antikythera mechanism to me.
I doubt we'll never know how someone from his time managed to build something so intricate, the likes of which humanity would not see again for 1,000 years.
Maybe he had help rigging through that crashed Nazi plane, and I'm sure the wristwatch helped.
GG.
Kidding.